Hello, 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 everybody! Holy shit cow! Shit cow nation, rise up! It's so great to see all of your non-existent faces in the chat! Hello, and welcome to Arc 2, Episode 1, Hype! Wow, we are on the last level of our hype train. Incredible, y'all are amazing. We literally haven't even started, and we are, what's 17 to 25? 1, 2, 3,
We're
4,
at 20
5, 6,
subs
7, 8.
already.
We have, 8 subs left until we unlock a PC backstory flashback, but we'll get right into that after we do our announcements and get someone to take a screenshot of everyone's terrified faces, because I am preoccupied. Too preoccupied to do that. So, the episode title is, of course, gut-yowled death gods, so we're gonna get to that, see what that means. If you don't know already, my name is Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I am the GM and executive producer behind Transplanar RPG, which is what you're watching right now. We are an all-transgender, person of color-led, 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition actual play livestream campaign set in a homebrew, non-colonial, anti-orientalist world. You can find me on Twitter at @ByGonnieChong and on Tumblr at @DandDaddy Issues. I am also a professional GM with Magpie Games curated play program, so check them out if you want to play with me in Masks, A New Generation this January. So you can now access our full schedule by using !schedule in chat. So here's a quick rundown if you don't have fingers ready to do that. Sundays at 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time, C does a wonderful art stream where they take requests. Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time are our video gaming nights where we might game with our subs. So if you just got gifted a sub or if you resubbed again, congratulations, you can play with us on stream if you want. Thursdays at 4 p.m. U.S. Central Time is One Shot Wonders, where our cast takes a break from Dungeons & Dragons to play a one-shot of a GM-less, low-prep, diceless, and/or indie tabletop game. We recently played Bell Songs. I think some exciting things are up on the docket. And of course, Saturdays at 3 p.m. Central U.S. Time, we play our main D&D campaign, which is what this is right here, right now. So let's get started. C, why don't you remind folks about our promo partners?
Hey Connie, did you forget that we also have to do our own
Oh my god, you're right, I forgot to pass along introductions. Do not bonk me! We're sharing a mic right now, I'm so sorry. So C, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey y'all, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I play Oka, who also uses they, them pronouns, our Awesomer blood hunter. I am a dancer, digital artist, and jack of many hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PieSharpArt or on Tumblr at pie-sharp. I am also guesting on the Goblets and Gays podcast, so look for that to be released in about 2 weeks. Exciting.
Yay!
Pass it down to Max.
Max, you're muted.
I'm not. I just have to talk closer for some reason. Hi, I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I play our Aarakocra artificer, Dewey Quirk. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Starchmonger. I'm gonna pass it to Erica.
Hi everybody, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns. I play the sorcerer elf V Nocturzo, and I'm a full-time streamer here on Twitch at Erica Newgirl. I'm your resident Scorpio queen. Come terrify me as I play video games and chat and tell stories about my wild, weird, wild life. And with that, I will pass it on to Devin.
Oh, my name is Devin. I use they, them pronouns. And join the Discord. Alright. I am a musician and a linguist, as well as a player here. I play Manaia. She's tall, she's strong, we love her. You can find me on our Discord server. You should join the Discord. I put the link in the chat. Thanks for the hype train. Oh my god. We have a really, really cool community here. I'm relatively pretty active. We got some memes, we got some theorizing about the campaign, we've got pictures of our pets, we've got clips and quotes and of the shit we do here. We've got all sorts of fun stuff, so jump on in, join the community. We've got a bunch of cool people here.
Yes, thank you for plugging the Discord. And now, C, so sorry about that. Why don't you talk a little bit about our promo partners?
Of course, as a reminder, you can check out our promo partners, whether they're queer, trans, and BIMPOC-led streams, pods, and projects using the ! Promo partners command in chat at any point. We also have our official merch store up and running, and you can use the ! Merch command to get to that. It will be updated soon. It is not yet, but we're going to have some cool new merch in there, considering all the cool new character art that is coming and on the overlay right now. But Erica, we must thank the people who don't even use their money to buy things on our merch store. Just the people who have donated so far.
Right. We love here at Transplanar to acknowledge everyone who has subbed, resubbed, donated, or given bits during our Arc 1 interlude and on solo gaming nights. This list is getting longer and longer, so let me take a breath here. Yikes, it's Tristan, Zezifer, Tutu Bears, Waffle Cracker 23, Margaret Catter TV, Rytel, Blickamore, Tiny Poison, Critical Bard, Obo Lauren, Neon Skeletor, Molotov Michelle, Prince Pastel Fox, J. John Sick, Glagroon, Eva Shambles, Benavil, Steel Bunnies, Lord Kaladar, Cinnaru 2, Boom Mamastar, Lou Humst, Samuel Ganton, Bree Squirrel, Thursdays 01, Crisco Kid, Lori Croissant, Hicks 03, Cherry Diesel, Scar, Eonicht, Hunter Crazy Burr, River Watches, Live Streams, Carpe Diem Live, Wallstormer, The Real Majestic Trash, Rinful Burst, Steam Tinkerer, Flanagan, Pact of the Ferret, Mixologist, Zarai, The Super Goat, Useless Fiend, Alistair Tyrell, Perilous Spear, Mix Shanzy, Key Squared, Abyssal Icarus, Gabe James Games, Cheshire Perot, Himbo Claus, Nikki Beholder to No One, Crude Imposter Nightbright, Benavil, Yorble, and Rondal. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mom.
That's cute. Wow.
And also, I'm gonna just jump right on into the overlay. You can see that we have a 25 sub goal. So 5 subs grants the party a point of collective inspiration. What are you pointing at? Is it me?
No, I'm pointing at the point of collective inspiration we got.
Oh God, did I say something wrong? 5 subs grant the party collective inspiration. 15 subs get us an auto crit that anyone, including the GM, can use. And hitting 25 subs triggers a PC backstory flashback. GM Connie will roll a D4, and whoever the number lands on will be pulled into a flashback scene of the GM's choice.
So watch out! Hide yourselves and be scared is what I want to tell my players. And if you want to see them quiver in fear and shake in their little boots, we have 8 more left until we hit that goal this episode. So yeah, now let's move on to Max. Why don't you give a recap of what happened last time?
Sure thing. As a reminder, you can always access our Google Doc recap by using the !recap command in the chat, or by going to bit.ly/transrecap. Last episode's not quite done yet, but here's what happened. The party arrived at the Kuvi Hot Spring and Hostel to find a cold spring. With the help of a pair of extremely competent spellbinding elves, Agun and Adaria, they venture across Lake Zima to a cavern that houses a fire spirit. By giving up some of their magic, they're able to restore heat to the hot springs for now, but the spirit issues an ominous warning. Without the gods, the magic in Andake is limited. There's also an ancient parasitic evil at the heart of the world. Following this revelation, the team treks back to the springs to have their well-earned, very relaxing soak.
Yep. So that is the Arc 1 interlude. Thank you for tuning into that Hot Springs interlude. We had guest stars Gabe James Games and Critical Bard joining us for that episode, so that was a lot of fun. But now we are going to go right into the title of this session, Devin.
Yes. So, for those of you who are new here, every episode of our main campaign has a title. Wow. And those titles are drawn from poems that were written by people of color, rather BIMPOC people.
Yes, Devin?
Wait, is BIMPOC people redundant?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're basically saying black, indigenous, mixed, people of color, double the POC. But it's fine. A lot of people are using it as an adjective instead of the noun that it actually is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so where the hell was I? We draw our episode titles from poems written by BIMPOC and trans non-binary people. And today's episode title, Arc 2, Episode 1, is gut-yowled death gods, which is from the poem I Have Wasted My Life from the Malevolent volume by Justin Philip Reed. The full verse reads, It all seems to swing sideways, glance, hitcher, hawk, glut-yowled death gods, ungodly, aching it for it while. For it while? No one thinks this isn't.
Thank you, Devin. And now, of course, moving on to the session itself, some content warnings for this episode may include fantasy violence, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, including the symptoms of such attacks, poverty and classism and economic injustice. And just to clarify regarding fantasy violence, we get pretty graphic here with blood and gore, so take care of yourself. Before we begin, I just want to point out that someone donated enough to reach 25 subs, which means that we are going to get a backstory flashback for this very episode. So I'm going to roll for it, and I'm going to inject that flashback during this episode. So hold up a finger, my lovely players, for the number you want on this D4, and I will roll it.
Oh wait, I can't look, huh?
Okay, don't look. I'm going to roll. Ready? Okay! So...
That was an excited okay.
It's been noted. It's been noted. Cool.
Most terrifying phrase Connie ever utters. It's been noted.
It's been noted. That's right. Okay, so let's move on to the actual session itself.
I am not looking.
Blessed be the dull, for they have no mind to doubt. Blessed be the weak, for they have no teeth to gouge. Blessed be the cruel, for they have no heart to vow. Blessed be the empty, for we have no soul to shroud. It's been 99 days since the world ended, and you're still not used to waking up without a sun. People can adapt to anything, Dr. Aluso told the four of you before you left. Heartbreak, death, exile. But the cataclysm is different. The short, pale days with its gray skies threatening disaster. The long, savage nights. The silence of the gods. The monsters roaming and ripping and rending. Still, you survive. Because you have to. Because there is no other option. Squeak, the grung merchant who is as round as she is tall, drives the covered wagon the four of you now sit in, pulled along by four strong hippopotamuses. Although the badlands of northern Talmud are red and arid, Squeak had explained that she had business in the frigid swamps of the court, and it made little sense to bring horses, zebras, and other such ungulates into such waterlogged territory. Hence, the four hippos.
I would have only had to bring 2 hippos if it weren't for the cargo,
She'd added, casting a critical eye over Manaia's 7.5-foot tall frame. 3 days ago, the four of you had returned to Dr. Aluso's homestead on the edge of the vast Euclid Chasm after enjoying a week-long vacation at the Kuvi Hot Springs in the frigid commune of Morose. You stayed at Dr. Aluso's for 2 days or so, received your next startling mission, and are now a day deep into your journey to the secluded and dignified Court of Ravens. Oka, Manaia, Dewey, and Vee. The day is Ox 19. It is early summer. It is 8 in the evening, and the light is dimming. The crimson rock of the Badlands is losing its glow. What are the four of you doing in the back of Squeak's wagon?
V is... she's wrapped up in her chrysalis robes, still very much sort of, trying to rock those new garments of hers. Whereas, when all of this started, she was very boisterous and very visible. She's kind of almost sulking in the corner and really, seems very withdrawn from the group, and even as conversation is happening, she keeps her head down enough that you can never see like her face at this point, to see if she's like looking at the conversation or even like paying attention whatsoever.
So V, you've sort of drawn into yourself. What emotions are roiling through you?
Since she's heard the information from the twins at the hot springs about magic being very finite at this point, she's worried. She doesn't know if her powers, when she may lose her powers, that like any spell could possibly be it for her. So she is, and between her skills with her tongue and her skills with magic, that's like all she has. So she's kind of freaked out a bit, and she's trying to figure out what her next course of action will be to not be defenseless, essentially.
Without magic, V, you're just a liar. Just a liar. Yep. So you're thinking about that, swaddled up in your green chrysalis robes in the back, casting your emerald green gaze out at the rest of your party. What are the rest of you doing?
Dewey he was trying to read some of the books that he borrowed from the library.
Okay.
Back in Tabathati, and it's gotten a little bit dark, so he would have asked V for some light, but he's like, oh wait, magic, finite thing. So he's kind of doing he's talking his way through putting together a little booklight. To no one in particular, kind of just doing a YouTube tutorial. And I don't know if anyone's paying attention, but that's what he's doing.
Okay.
I think Oka is paying attention. I think they're maybe sitting on the back of the cart with their feet dangling over the edge, rolling a cigarette, but their ear is they're kind of watching over their shoulder, at whatever Dewey's doing. Mostly because I think they also want to take a look at those books eventually. But for now, they're just content watching Dewey make a light because they're interested in seeing what that possibly could look like.
Okay. And you, Manaia?
Manaia has some personal stake in going to the court, and so she's very worried and very anxious to get there. So more than anything, she's looking forward, trying to, as much as she is dreading, to start seeing the court start to peer over the horizon.
Okay. Yeah, so Oka, you're peering at Dewey. Dewey, what contraption are you building?
So there's it's just a little bulb at the end, and it's got a joint so you can bend it, and you can clip it onto the cover of your book. And it's basically powered by, not batteries, but a sort of rudimentary battery powered by some chemical reactions.
Okay, yeah. So you're putting all these components together, trying to make yourself a nightlight, basically, or some sort of reading light. V, you're sitting there sulking, thinking, fear and trepidation roiling through you. And the four of you think back to Dr. Eluso's words as you're sitting here in this cart. And we sort of flash back now on the four of your faces, now sitting on a couch. Dr. Eluso's homestead, facing this young person in their armchair. Dr. Eluso, if you're new here, is a human with sort of shaved blonde hair, shaved on the sides, always wearing sort of kind of a greasy, dirty lab coat, and described as the most handsome or the most beautiful person you've ever seen. They're gender fluid, so they use pronouns like they, he, and she. They're sitting there looking at the four of you after you've returned from the hot springs and after you've told them what you've learned from Agwun and Adaria about the nature of magic now in Andake. So who was the one who broke that news?
Oka might have done it.
Okay. Oka, what did you say to them?
Well, I don't know if you know this on your map, Doctor, but what do you know about magic being finite.
Finite?
Like, eventually there's not going to be any more magic.
Well, it is one of the many theories I've dedicated my life to researching about how Andake works. The idea that magic is finite, though, that is not a theory I've ever really encountered. Different people think magic comes from different places. Clerics get a lot of their powers from worshipping the gods, or rather their emissaries directly. Druids, those who spend their days in nature, get their magic from the raw, natural power that Andake herself exudes. Wizards, are able to tap into the weave through incantations, ingredients, gestures, knowledge. But the idea that magic might one day run out, I'm sorry, is quite a foreign one to me. Why are you bringing this up? Why do the four of you look so morose? Were the hot springs did they not live up to your expectations?
The bath was great, but we met two travelers, and the emissary that protects the spring, it had run out of magic to use to protect it. And that's what it told us.
I see. Like a kind of uneasy silence settles over the home, the cottage. Dr. Alusa says, I wish I could say I was entirely surprised. But since you've been gone, and I didn't want to load all of this on you as soon as you came back from Dabathati, but I've been receiving word of catastrophes across Andake, not just limited to that rage the four of you helped to quell. Perhaps magic being limited is just another one of these catastrophes. It didn't seem limited to the commune, did it?
No.
These two travelers, I see. Well, I suppose this is actually a great opportunity for me to bring up the research I've been conducting on my end, while the four of you have been predisposed, let's say. And I wanted, the four of you to get the chance to rest and recuperate before springing all of this on you. So, let's talk next steps. Before I even get into the next quest I might have in mind for you, is there any place in particular the four of you would want to go?
The court. We're going to the court.
I understand, Manaia. And just to refresh my memory as a GM, you did tell Dr. Luso everything, right? Manaia, so Dr. Luso would know why you would want to go to the court to rescue your parents?
Yeah, the party would know.
Cool. And Dr. Luso?
Yeah.
Cool.
This was all mentioned in her cottage.
Sounds
the
good.
End of Arc 1.
Yep. They nod slowly and they say, well, actually I'll get to the court last. I've been hearing rumors of different anomalies across Andake, and until the four of you had returned to me, I had no idea why. There were 8 specifically, but now I suppose I know. We know. It's likely because of these shreds of gods that have been severed from the beyond on Adolin that are causing these catastrophes, and it makes sense. After all, in the Republic of Talmud and Dabathati, it was the rage, correct? Vibrating, emanating out from Vinash, trapped in that tomb of the giants, causing those miners to attack each other.
Doctor, with all due respect, that was a difficult time for many of us, and I would rather move on from that conversation.
Of course, my apologies. I simply wanted to reiterate my theory, but that was Vinash, or rather an aspect of Yudabathi that had been severed. That is now, of course, inside our very own Oka. But we'll get to that later, I suppose. I've heard rumors about things happening in Jukai, the United Tribes. They call it the stagnation. Rivers are refusing to run. Rains are refusing to fall. Crops refuse to grow. Animals refuse to eat. The very order of nature itself in Jukai appears to have ground to a halt. And the great tribal lords have no idea how to make things move again. If what happened in Dabathati is true across all of Andake, it might stand to reason that a shard or a shred of Sen is wreaking havoc in Jukai. And Oka, given what Vinash said to you, perhaps it would be a good idea to go there after the court. Moving on to Morose. Did the four of you hear of anything happening outside of the hot springs running cold while you were there?
Did we?
I don't think so, actually. The Togos, who was in charge, had made it pretty clear that Shatak had guarded and protected the hot springs for a long time, so you get the sense that maybe Togos was a little shielded from the rest of the disasters happening in Morose on Zima Lake.
Manaia chuckles a little bit. Well, the lake was still there, and it was still frozen. Nothing that bad could happen there.
Good. No fissures? Nothing like that?
Fissures.
Everything stayed intact? The clothes, the cloths, the towels. Whether they call it the unspooling. What is woven in Morose is refusing to stay woven. Settlements, clothing is coming apart. Worse than that, there are rumors that beasts from a bygone age are returning from the ice, emerging from gigantic fissures cracking open on the lake. The fact that you didn't notice any of this is actually a good sign. Probably a lot of these occurrences are deeper within Zima. The hot springs Kuvi, of course, is on the edge of the lake. I wouldn't have sent you in so deep. Aside from Morose, the championship is dealing with its own strange things as well. There's rumors of, now this is ridiculous, of a carnival hidden deep within the island jungles of, the jungles of Clathau Island. A carnival beckoning to curious and foolhardy adventurers, though, as they say, those who find it are never seen again. I don't know who's running this carnival, what its purpose is, but perhaps this might be, well, the echo of Scott and Nectus at work here, beckoning their followers to come. And Manaia, this next one, there's no immediate danger, but it is impending for Uhanahi. The kingdom, there have been reports of a massive storm sighted off the coast of all three of Uhanahi's islands. Deep south in the Hima Sea, but inching closer with every passing day. The scope of this storm is never before seen. Threatens to devastate all life in its path. Some people are already fleeing, some are staying put. I think the Queen is trying to figure out a way to stop it. But just like Jukai, perhaps Uhanahi might be your next stop. It's still on the horizon for now, but it will arrive at civilization in a few weeks, if not more, perhaps. And of course, we can't forget Kirtal. Very strange occurrence, actually, a herding. The herd is what the various Agons are calling it. A massive herd has been spotted north of the Erk River in the Ogumor River Valley, stampeding across the land, eating up all the grass, trampling over settlements. Animals that this massive herd pass appear to, enter a trance or something and move to join the herd, making it grow in numbers and ferocity. The great Agons of Kirtal are hemorrhaging cattle every day. And needless to say, Toktoa, actually, she's trying to figure out, she's using this as an attempt to band all the clans together under her banner.
Good luck with that.
This brings us actually to Tulong, the kingdom of Tulong. It's curious. I mean, aside from the court, this is the oddest and perhaps most troubling news I've heard, which is actually no news at all. As far as I can tell, Tulong is perfectly fine. They've actually begun to close their borders so that refugees can't go to them in this time of need.
That's where my... I mean, I glances at Dewey. That's where our people would go to first. That's the closest port from Uhanahi. Why would they close their borders?
As far as I understand, the Emperor's trying to look out for her own. A lot of people are getting displaced. A lot of bad things are happening. If Toulon is the only place spared, then of course, as this rumor grows, people are going to flock there. And as big and bountiful as Toulon's harvests are, I don't know if it can feed everyone.
They could at least fucking try.
You know, it's also I'm not the science. I'm science. I do not understand big concepts. But if everywhere else is going to crap, I'm more suspicious of the place that seems just fine.
Yes, it is rather odd. Especially if our theory is correct that these catastrophes are being caused by the echoes or the shards or the shreds, whatever you want to call them, of gods severed from their full selves in the beyond. Why? I don't understand. Why is Toulon fine? Anyway, that leaves one power left, which is the Court of Ravens. And at this, Dr. Luso's face sort of like goes a little dark. And they say, this other place that people have been flocking to, aside from Toulon, has been the court. Because, if the rumors are true, they say you cannot die in the court. People from the Republic, of course, its neighbors, and actually, especially the Championship, have been trying to sail across the boundary waters to get there because no one wants to die, right? So if you're in the court, at least you won't be able to physically.
But there's some fates worse than death.
I agree. But as odd and frankly blasphemous as this is, as a lot of priests and priestesses of the court might say, this is perhaps good news for you, Manaia. I mean, your parents are there. Maybe they're not in direct peril.
Don't give me hope. We're going to the court. That's it.
Understood. And of course, if our research is correct, it might actually not be a bad idea for us to figure out a way to get people to the court if death, of course, evaporates the soul now that our connection to the after has been severed. That might be a good place to put people.
The last port I was at was Sulmanad, on the boundary waters, on the Talmadian side.
I see.
My captain had reports of large pillars of water appearing in the sea. If people are going to the court, they'd better take the land bridge to the north, or they might get caught up in those.
I agree. But it's much easier. Well, again, I'm not entirely sure what the court has been doing to secure their borders, or if they've been doing that at all. But if reports are to be believed, they're probably going to move soon about it. There are plenty of immigrants and refugees flocking to the court as well as to Toulon. Some, of course, are taking the land bridge. I wouldn't be surprised if your journey, especially as you near the end of the Badlands, becomes cramped. I'm sure others are trying to skip the traffic and go across the boundary waters because it would be faster to sail.
Is your ship still in Solomonad, Manaia?
It was heavily battered when I last saw it, but it's been, 3 months now? It should be repaired. Sulmanad was hit pretty bad with, well. But Lahana said that repairs of the town, of the city, and the ship were in quick order, and, well, last I was there, a few months ago, it looked like things were going apace. Though we shouldn't take a ship across the boundary waters of the oceans in this state.
No. It's faster, but it's dangerous. Perilous, one might even say. So that's all the information I've collected while you've been gone.
I believe tomorrow morning then?
As soon as you want.
Yep. Looks like we're going to the court.
And on that, we flash back to Squeak's wagon. And the grunting and the heaving of the hippos. As they're like eking their way. I don't know, I'm just trying to do some Foley work here, y'all. As they're like heaving their big old hippo bodies across, like dust and like red silt and sand is like sticking to the edges, of their skin as they're like trudging across. It's slow, but a lot faster than if you were on foot, and pretty steady. The hippos are steady, and they can fight, which is something I don't think a horse can do, which is another reason why Squeak wanted hippos, to help protect her as well as y'all at night, during the starless dark. So, with that information in mind, I think it would be a good idea for us to have some one-on-one, perhaps relationship building scenes between each of the PCs, using the same sort of like mechanic we used when we were traveling to Dr. Lusso's. So, if folks have forgotten, there is a procedure to this. This is a homebrew mechanic I've made up, inspired in part by Star-Crossed RPG. So to pick our first roller, let's actually... Devin, Manaia, you are our first roller. So Manaia, why don't you pick an initiator?
Dewey.
So we're gonna have a scene between Manaia and Dewey. So the roller, go for it. Roll a D100.
It's my rainbow die. 28.
28. We've already done that one, so roll it again.
What?
Yep.
Wow. That was a 1 in 100 chance, I guess, huh?
It's not only 4% chance.
Oh, 10.
Okay, now roll it again for your second option.
10? That is 10, not 100. 9.
Okay, so your options, initiator, that's you, Dewey, are troubling dreams or forced together.
Let's go troubling dreams.
Troubling dreams, let's do it. So basically what this means to those who have maybe not seen that episode in particular, this is a scene seed, a prompt to sort of get creative juices flowing. Our PCs are allowed to interpret this prompt however you want. You don't have to be waking up from a troubling dream. You can just be talking about a troubling dream or about a dream you've had in the past or anything like that. Anything that you might come up with. So let me just note that we've done that one. So troubling dreams, basically now we get the chance to establish, all four of us, what time of day it is when this scene happens, whether we're on the road, at camp or off foraging, whether anyone else, so if Oka and Vee are nearby, or Squeak, and any other small events or details that might be relevant to the scene. So Manaia and Dewey, what do you think? When does this happen? Does it happen when you're setting up camp for the night? On the same day, the 99th day after the world ends? Or does it happen the morning after? Or a week later? It's going to take the four of you about 2 weeks to travel to the Court of Ravens.
I think it'd be us setting up a tent. I think it'd be...
That night?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so the four of you, along with Squeak, are able to find kind of a butte, the shadow of which Squeak drives the four hippos toward, sets up camp, Squeak actually, you notice, brings out a pouch full of some kind of powder, and she begins to mutter and sprinkle it around the perimeter of your camp. And when she's done forming a circle, a boom, kind of similar to what Adaria casts, a tiny hut whoosh, appears of its own accord. And maybe at the four of your surprised faces, she goes,
"What? I am a purveyor and seller of magical goods of the highest order." would have tiny hut in a pocket.
Never doubted you for a moment.
200 gold if you want it.
She puts the powder away. And the hippos are sort of sitting outside of the hut, grazing on various feed that Squeak is scattering on the ground, as well as clams, mussels, hippo meat. Not meats of other hippos, but meats for the hippos onto the ground. And the four of you are now inside this like impromptu hut in a pocket that Squeak has set up. But now we focus on Dewey and Manaia. Dewey and Manaia, let's say the two of you are like rolling out your bedrolls. Where are Oka and Vee? Are they also in this hut?
I think Oka's hiking up the butte a little bit to try to get a
Better view.
better view.
Vee, are you joining Oka?
I think V is just gonna go off. She's gonna be emo alone time a lot right now, so she's gonna go wander off by herself.
Okay, as you wander away from the hut, Squeak goes,
Careful, V! Come back soon in time for dinner!
Thank you, friend. I'll be right back.
It's getting dark! Whatever, you get eaten, it's not my fault.
as you wander away. And Oka, you clamber to the top of the butte as the sunless sky begins to dim, like someone's just like fading a dimmer, and everything is like sort of dimming at once. You're looking out at what you can gather in the Badlands. And now we go to Manaia and Dewey. Dewey, you start the scene.
So you've done a lot of sailing, right? No, I know that.
Well, it's been a while, but
How? I guess you haven't sailed since, well, whatever's going down out there has been going down, but how dangerous do you think it is to be on the open water right now?
well, normally you have your Wuhan ships are built to weather the worst storms of the Sojourner Sea. Is that right?
Hima Sea. Sigurni Sea is to the north.
Zima Lake, Hima Ocean, Hima Sea. Okay.
Yep.
Ships are built to weather the worst storms the Hima can offer, but large columns of water just appearing out of nowhere, and no ship can stand toppling completely over, unless... Never mind.
There's a situation in which they could?
Oh, well, I mean, you worked at the URL, but... Sorry, I brought it up.
That's okay. I wasn't too involved in their vehicle movement research. I don't know. I just keep having dreams about trying to leave the island. I mean, not like me. Well, I've family back in Hanahi. I assume you. Well, I don't know if you do. I do, and I just keep thinking of what the doctor said about trying to flee Uhanahi right now. That I don't know. It just can't be safe. And I'm used to traveling, but I'm used to surviving out there on my own. But not just regular people. They don't know much about sailing or survival or.
Before we left from Rose, you mentioned you'd never had a holiday in your life, a vacation. Did you ever get to see your family when you were working at the URL?
Much. They didn't really didn't give us many days off, but I also didn't really prioritize that. I don't know. I just didn't really realize how important it was to keep up with your family. You know, how jobs come and go. But hopefully family doesn't. And now it's too late. So... yeah, I don't really know what vacation is. I don't have a better idea since our last break, since the springs.
Dewey, I can't make any promises on where we'll go next after the court, but let's try to go to Hanahi. Let's visit your family.
Yeah.
They probably miss you, and
Well, at least half of them do. But yeah, I would love to. I do want to go check in. Hearing about your family brings up some stuff. It's not a big deal, but would be neat. And I trust you to get us places.
when we go to Hanahi, we'll give you a proper vacation. We'll get you some time with your family, and we'll treat you to some family traditions. My father used to make this. It was so weird. It was a coconut pie. You wouldn't think it was very good, but it was the greatest thing. He made the best coconut frosting on top, and it was filled with mango juice, and we'll have a big family dinner. Be a proper vacation. No emissaries, no magic, none of that.
A little hard to escape emissaries nowadays with this group, huh?
Yeah.
Coconut pie.
And sort of
Good.
on the promise of coconut pie, the two of you hear maybe like some noise outside as Oka, as you're casting your gaze out over the dark, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for motherfucking monsters is what I'm looking for.
Make a perception check.
Oh god.
Motherfucking monsters.
We're like, oh, cute roleplay episode. I wonder what's gonna happen.
I wonder what's gonna happen in this episode.
20.
20?
Unnatural, but dirty 20.
A dirty 20, okay. As you cast your gaze out and you extend your senses, your ears, your like short kind of like almost like drow-like ears, like twitch a little as you hear in the distance the braying of beasts and monsters. And based on your knowledge as a monster hunter, these are not natural monsters that originated in Andake. These are sort of like the kind of like screeching and yowling and shrieking in the distance, and you hear some screaming. But based on the distance, it is far too far away for your party to be able to make it there in any semblance of time.
It's like over like the...
It's like over the, exactly, like the flat plains of like the rugged Badlands, the red rock is sort of like causing these screams to echo across. It's far.
Okay, can I use my Hunter's Bane to maybe like try to track where exactly it's coming from, just to get a pinpoint on where they are in relation to us?
Sure, how does that work?
I just get advantage on it.
Go for it.
On the wisdom save to track monsters. So to speak.
Mm-hmm.
10. Oh, natural 20, baby!
Okay. What skill does that use?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. Let's say that's like another perception check then, but you're looking for something specific.
22.
22.
It's just a straight wisdom.
Yeah, it is probably to your northwest. So in the direction you're traveling. Is where you hear it. And based on your high roll, it is probably a couple of miles away from you. it'd probably be a good idea to get back in the hut soon.
Yeah, I think Oka starts clambering back down.
Yep. And that is what Manaia, Dewey, the two of you hear, like Oka's like feet skidding against the rock. And you know that your time alone is sort of coming to an end. But Oka, as you re-enter this like boom, this like magical, like powdered, like generated hut, V, where have you wandered off to?
I mean, is there really like any area that's like kind of hidden from view, like around any corner of rocks or?
How are you looking for one?
I mean, really, what it is, V wants to go to some place where she can't be seen, and then she's you know what she's actually gonna do? She's gonna try to pretend to practice, or like try to practice doing footwork for like swordplay.
And you don't want to be embarrassed. Okay, so you tuck yourself around the butte, and you see like a secluded area, a little divot in the ground, surrounded by like some cacti in the shade of a baobab tree. And you're like, okay, I don't think anyone's gonna see me here. And you begin to practice swordplay. But as you do, V, let's say, I don't know if you're very athletic at all. It's not going too well. After just a few minutes, you start to run out of breath as you're sort of thrusting, and like moving and twisting your body. And as you sort of stand there for a moment, a little, like a thin sheen of sweat glittering against the green freckle of your skin. Your breath heaving. For some reason, your mind flashes back.
Uh-oh! It was Erica!
To your mother on her deathbed. What's her name? How do you pronounce it, rather?
Paya.
Paya, okay. What does Paya look like?
Paya, at this point, she's an old elf. In a way, she looks a lot like V, but more frail. White hair. At this point, she's been sick for a while and is probably very frail, very, very thin, almost like bone-like. Doesn't have green eyes. That's probably the key difference. I would say they're just more of a mix, like but on the edge between gray and blue. But yeah, the same like white hair, long but not in like the undercut shave, probably like in a braid down her on the bed and stuff.
Okay. Less of a bed, more of a cot. Because Paya raised you, V, kind of in like a cave. Built into the side of the god spine, kind of just out of the purview of any lords in the United Tribes of Jukai. And, it's sort of been your responsibility ever since you were a young girl to forage, to hunt, harvest, find food for you and your mother, learn how to wield the magic that she passed on to you to sustain yourselves. And she has sort of like forbidden you from making contact with anyone. In any of the tribes. And she's always been a little, like, domineering, but also, like, there's something about her that just... Well, let's do the scene, actually, and find out. So she's on this cot of, like, matted leaves and hay. There's, like, some berries, like, maybe there's, like, a steaming mug of, like, hot water that she's, like, sipping from. And she coughs. V, come here. My child.
V walks over and, I guess kneels beside the cot.
She is an elf. She's young, she's young. She's not doing well. Most elves don't die so young. And she sort of like strokes the side of your face. And she goes, you look just like your father.
V is going to take a sharp breath in, just like I just did, and Mother, I don't know how much time you have, but And V is like literally struggling for words right now, for real. Mother, if we don't have much time left together, who's my father for real? You've told me so many stories, and story after story. I'm not an idiot, Mother.
Of course you're not. No child of Tyron the White could ever be an idiot, V. You are the rightful heir to the dragons. You must find him, V. You must find your father.
Mother, we both know dragons. They don't exist. They haven't for longer than we've been alive. For either one of us have been alive.
No, V. That's not true. Your father loved me, V. He gave me you. He loves you, V. I'm sure of it. If only he knew you were here. If only he knew you existed. V, I'm going to die. V, I'm going to die very soon. I want you to find him and take your place by his side.
V's gonna be quiet for a moment. And after thinking about it, and also swallowing some tears back, she's going to say, "All right, Mother, in your dying wish, I'll go find him. Where can I find him?"
In the Godspine, V. In a fountain of ice and water deep in the Godspine. That's all I remember, V. He took the memories of where he lived, of our home together, away from me, V. But I know deep down your father still loves me. Even though he left me, I know he still loves me.
Mother, I've taken care of you for a very long time. And I have listened to you say a lot of things. And V is purposefully not going to call out her mother for a lot of things. She's going to choke it back down and just say, "I love you, Mother, very much. And when you cross to the court and to the beyond after, you know, I'll pray for you to the gods that you arrive safely."
Oh, my perfect child, my perfect, beautiful, God-touched child. And she strokes the side of your, like, her hand is still there, but it's beginning to, like, weaken against your face. And she goes, "You are my beautiful miracle. You find Tyron. Tell him who you are. I know he still loves me. He will love you too, V. He will love you." And without saying "I love you" back, those are your mother's final words as her hand drops from your face and she dies.
V's gonna take a moment to sit in the silence, realize that her mother has finally passed. She's gonna finally stand up after 5-10 minutes, sometime. She's going to take a torch. She's gonna say, "Mother, despite all of your sicknesses, I do love you, I mean, she's gonna light the cot on fire and just walk away and never see that cave again.
Okay. And on that, I think we're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a quick 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10, so join us at 4:10 p.m. Central U.S. time to finish up the rest of this episode and get some more scenes in before our team arrives at the Court of Ravens. So we'll see you. We'll be back in 10. Take a bio break.
Or sniffle until
Or
you're
sniffle
done crying.
until you're done crying. Okay.
If I go fast instead of slowly, instead of last, if my father survives me, if I explode, if I go up in smoke, if I go quietly, when I go quiet, give my heart to my mother, she'll know what to do. Give my songs to my lover, she'll know what to do. Give my bones to my father, my poems to my sister, my love to one another. Give it all to each other. And I suppose the soul can go to the children. I suppose the trash can go to the museum. I suppose the dreams can go in the casket. I suppose the blood will go where you ask it. Will go where you ask it. Will spill where you ask it. Will spill where you ask. I'll spill where you ask. I'll spill where you ask. I'll spill. I'll spill. I'll spill. I'll spill. I was once the tree, and I was the paper. I was the hair, and I was the razor. I was the leg, I was the table. I was the cloth, and I was the indigo. And I was the indigo, and I was the indigo, and I was the indigo, and I was the color girl, 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 and I was the color girl. Doom did. It's the blue light when we're out with our friends. It's the blue light asking where the night should end. It's the blue light saying, come over. It's the blue light and my coat on my shoulders. college parties, college drinking, all you outcasts gather round, roll a fat one, pour the shots, give this death all you've got. Let the liquor loosen your mouth, make a bow with friendly tongues. Call your lover, say you're sorry, then go back to making fun. Your friends are drunk and useless. Welcome to senior year. The night is young and ruthless, and you want to disappear in the hallway, in the hall, in the hallway, in the hall. You can hear them all around you, broken hearts and blushing sighs. Truth's a hard pill to swallow, but it'll still get you high. I know a faraway land, hidden from even the moon, somewhere queer and quiet, a place you can lick your wounds. In the hallway, in the hall, in the hallway, in the hall.
Hello, 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 everybody. It's great to see all of your non-existent faces in Twitch chat yet again. So we're back for our 10-minute break for the second half of Arc 2, Episode 1, Gut-Yowled Death Gods. Before we jump back into it, let's just do a quick round of introductions again, and my players, if you would like to reintroduce your characters, because I realize Arc 2, y'all have new outfits, y'all have new looks, and people might be new to us, so they might not know what you look like aside from on the overlay. So I'll get started. My name is Connie, my pronouns are they, he, and she, used in no order of preference. I like it when you mix them up. I'm the GM, so I play literally everyone in the world aside from our 4 main characters. Let's go to Erica.
Hi, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Vee Scherzo. She's a high elf sorcerer with draconic ancestry, and she wears underneath these new chrysalis robes, these green robes that depict like a butterfly in the back, and she's got underneath that a nice white blouse, sort of like dress shirt with a Kelly green tie that matches her Kelly green eyes, and like a pinstriped gray on gray vest, and some. She's now wearing black pants instead of like brownish. Those are upgraded. And then she's got some white wild hair that's got the undershave haircut. Looks gay AF. And she's got a little green shimmer to her skin. And also on her right hand, her dominant hand, is a fingerless glove. And the palm of it is a diamond firmly etched into the palm of the diamond, which is her arcane focus, where all of her power comes through.
Cool.
And that's that. I will pass it on to Max.
Hey y'all, I'm Max. I go by they them pronouns. I play Dewey Quirk, Artificer. He's a blue-gray pigeon. He has upgraded his. He's no longer wearing his big baggy cargo pants, cargo shorts anymore, but they are like sporty cargo black pants. They're a little bit sleeker than usual, but he's still wearing his like green tunic on top, so it's like the styles don't match at all, but function over fashion. He's also got like those dumb shoulder holsters that they have for like guns, I guess, but in them is just like a wrench and like a couple of like small handbooks and notebooks.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah, He's dangerous now.
What about your sword? What about your sword son?
My sword son, what? Okay, sorry. My sword son is, Dewey's upgraded the straps on the, sheath for a little bit more security on that end.
Cool. Let's pass things along to C.
Hey, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I play Oka, our Aasimar blood hunter. In Andake, Aasimar is less of a race and more of a thing that happens to you or you are born with, sort of like lycanthropy. So Oka has the appearance of a half drow. They have dark, like slate gray skin, a ton of freckles, short, very closely cropped black hair. It's not necessarily a shave anymore. It now seems to have a little bit more like volume to it because they haven't cut it yet. Oka also has 2 pupils in each of their blue eyes, and one of the most defining features of their face is a long, jagged scar that bisects their lips, basically cuts their lips in half. They're riddled with plenty of other scars and piercings, and they've traded out their heavier robes of the early spring for now that it is summer. They wear like plain high-necked black tunic, and has kind of upgraded some light shoulder padded armor that crosses their body. They wear a orange, red, and white sash around their waist. They have loose-fitting trousers, some wraps, and now they have a very long black tattoo of a long sword tattooed into their arm. I think that's it. Hope I didn't miss anything important about Oka. But I'll pass it over to Devin.
Hello, my name's Devin. I use they, them pronouns. I play Manaia. Our gotta get my script. 7.5 foot tall, half orc fighter, with deep dark brown skin, and silvery gray eyes with new specks of green and gold, brown, sort of leafy colors to them. Wonder what that could mean. While normally she has long braided hair with gold rings wrapped on them, she has taken about half of them out, and now has a sort of frohawk going on, with cornrowed sides, which is where the rings reside now. Normally her ankle length, a long dark brown coat, or what did I call it? Trench coat sort of a thing, is now cropped at the belly button-ish. I had to think about that. So the gold plates on her shoulder and on the front of her coat are still there. And underneath is a I don't want to call it Wuhan style, but it's a chainmail shirt, which C and I redesigned sort of in the vein of like Black Panther, if you've seen that movie, where the metal is sewn into the fabric and the leather, and so there is like sort of geometric lines of gilded iron, which is nice. On making our way downtown, walking fast faces. She has what's called a kanga wrapped around her waist, which is a rectangular piece of cloth, in Kenyan style, Kenyan style, with some geometric African Kenyan designs, as well as certain sayings and proverbs sewn into them. And that's sort of free-flowing, tied around her waist. And under that are long black pants and her regular big boots.
Cool. So this is what everyone's new drip, everyone's new outfit has been described. Thank you, everyone. And getting right back into our episode, some reminders of content warnings, family death, fantasy violence, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, and economic injustice. I suppose as well now as a refugee crisis, and natural disasters. I should add that. Refugee crisis, natural disasters. Yeah, stuff like that. So now let's get right back into our session. As a quick recap of what happened earlier, Manaia and Dewey had a heart-to-heart inside Squeak's tiny hut while Oka looked out for dangers, noting that there's something happening a few miles out, but on their route, on their way to the court. And Vee had a flashback where she spoke to her mother on her deathbed. So to the four of you, how do you pass the rest of the night?
Oka will come down and kind of converse with Squeak loud enough so that Manaia and Dewey can hear them about how, well, they would say something like, I get the feeling that some monsters might have set up an ambush a little farther down the road. It's good that we're not traveling at night, but we should be alert for them in the morning.
Were you addressing Squeak?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought you were addressing Manaia. Okay, you come down. Squeak is stroking one of her hippo's backs. She goes,
Oh, on our way? Do you think perhaps we should take a different route in the morning?
It might be wise, but they might move on in the night, but they're definitely along this route.
Why don't you look for them again in the morning, and we'll decide what to do then.
Okay.
But we should be safe in this hut. I pride myself on having non-defective magical goods and consumables.
Squeak,
Well-
I would never doubt you. Ever.
Although you might want to bring the hippos in.
Yes, I would not want to lose. Oh, Bertha here. She sort of like pats the back of like an obsidian hippo, says, All right, well, the four of you move over. Hippos are coming home.
Okay.
We're sharing.
Yes! I only have enough tiny hut in the pocket to sustain us for the rest of the trip. I can't waste another one. Do we get an enclosure for the hippos? Squeeze! Squeeze! Don't mind Ting. He likes to nibble.
V comes back from being alone and like sees all this and just is like, I wish there was a hotel room, and like tries to like get into the hut around the hippos.
Yep. The hippos take up a
well-
lot of space. Yes, Manaia, go ahead.
Yes, well, when we save the court, maybe they'll have a hotel room for us as well. And as soon as one of the hippos settles down, Manaia's gonna sit next to it and lean back against its back.
Okay. The
As
hippo.
a sort of makeshift pillow.
It's a gray hippo with like a big brown spot in the back. Sort of looks at you with crusty eyes and starts nibbling on your arm.
We're leaning up against its back, so it can't like turn its head back to get to me.
Oh, true. Okay. Then it tries nibbling at you, tries getting you, but it can't, and then it just grows disinterested and goes to sleep.
Manaya squints her eyes at it, and then leans back and goes to sleep.
Squeak says, I hope you don't mind if I have to baste them in water every now and then. I can't have their skin dry out.
Week I spent the better part of my life on the ocean. A little water won't do much for me.
Okay, good.
And she reaches into that tiny pouch that's always strapped to her waist, and she pulls out a disproportionately large jug. Kind of like Talmud style. Has like Udabathi's head, like likeness. All three heads carved into it. And she goes, Flow! And like a torrent of water spills out and drenches the four hippos and splashes onto the four of you as well.
Oga picks up their bedroll off the ground. Like, seriously, you can't take them outside to do that.
I don't want them to be killed. You are the one who told me I should bring them in.
Oh my god.
See that, Josh?
I suppose, but don't try to take it from me, Dewey, or tamper with it. Here.
And she hands it to you.
It's a magical jug. Summon any amount of water.
Does just water, or I've seen
What?
things that can summon.
Fresh water,
No, like-
salt water,
Okay.
vinegar, ketchup,
Mayonnaise.
I suppose, but I don't know why you would want to. Mustards, all sorts of sauces. But I've
No,
only.
I worked on one of these. The technology behind one of these.
Oh, did you? You worked on one of these technology at the URL. Yeah, well, I'm using it. Did you get fired?
Squeak,
Shove it back at her.
Wait, that's what I thought.
She puts it back in her pouch.
I'm sorry, I don't like sharing space with my hippos. As much as I like them, they're stinky.
You suggested it.
Technically, Oka suggested it, and I don't want to risk them dying.
She clambers onto one of the backs of the hippos and sets down her bedroll on top of like all four of them. Okay. The four of you spend the night in cramped quarters. It smells disgusting. In the middle of the night, one of the hippos like shifts and farts. It's like literally spending the night with cattle. It's not great. So the four of you are
No worse than spending the night with Babatunde. Ooh!
or Dalapathy. The four of you go to sleep, and you have the same dream. I don't even know if I have to describe it at this point.
I need to take more notes because I can only get
Do
like
it.
a fourth of it
Do it.
the way down.
Okay, so it is the same dream that you have been encountering for the past whatever number of nights. I think probably every night. Even in I know we sort of lost over how the hot springs happen. Maybe you forgot the dreams upon waking, but you always have the same dream. You've had the same dream ever since you first had it in Dabathati. It is a dream of the 8 of you atop a ruined battlefield. Your fallen comrades surround you, blood filling the trenches like rivers. In the middle of it all, a horrible, terrible monster, this stranger, a huge creature taller than the entire world, winged with eyes everywhere, threatens to kill you all, and the 8 of you are doomed to fail. And that's when the 4 of you snap awake at the same time. It's 8 in the morning.
I'm so fucking tired of that. Oh my god. Oka does try to grab for their journal though.
Okay. You grab your journal and you try to scribble down what details don't escape you so far.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of you?
Tired of what, Oka?
I think their pen kind of stills on the page. And then they flip, and then they flip, and then they flip, and then they flip. Battlefield. Blood. Battlefield, 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 battlefields. They're going through days where they written stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
Battlefield, blood. 8. I don't know.
8. 8 of us.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
Well, if you count the
4
hippos,
hippos. Squeak.
it's 9.
Doctor.
Is Squeak awake?
She is... Oh! She has a big snot bubble coming out of her nose.
Yeah, I didn't dream for a long fucking time. Is this really what happens every night? You have to dream every night? God, I forgot that this was such a...
You should be, but not the same dream every night.
Manaia, Dewey, and Vee, the vestiges of the dream are escaping from your eyes now that you're waking up, but what Oka's describing is the dream that all of you woke up from and have been having for the past whatever number of days.
I think Oka has assumed that them waking up yelling has woken everyone else up at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And that this is just what dreaming's like.
Oh god, how long have you all been awake? Am I the... What time is it? Am I the last one awake again? Sorry.
Dewey, you check your watch. But there's no time marks on it.
Not that kind of watch. V is gonna be like, it only used to take. I used to be able to only need 4 hours of sleep, and ever since all these dreams started, I feel so weird. Like sleeping 8 hours, it feels so bizarre to me.
Yes, my mother used to get that every once in a while. Oh, Kailani used to make this wonderful tea. Just get her right up, but she never passed on the recipe.
Well, maybe we can ask when we get to... maybe we can ask when we get there.
Can the four of you keep it down? Is it time for us to travel? Oh, what time is it? I see.
And Squeak pulls out, squints at your watch and says, "Oh, we all know that doesn't tell time, Cardew." And she pulls out, a little device. It looks almost like a magic 8-ball, and she shakes it.
Ah! It's 8:05. We better get going.
And she puts it back in her pouch.
We should talk more about this later.
Talk about what? The hippos?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. They seemed a little restless last night.
Ah, yes. They're not used to being so close to people for so long. We're gonna have to find a safer way to shelter, or we'll just have to do this for the rest of the travel period.
No. I think tonight was the only night that there will be monsters around, so...
I don't know. I quite enjoy the sound of water.
Okay, so the four of you enter your morning routine, a little shaken, a little rattled. Again, by the dream that the four of you have been waking up, the same dream, the same time, for the past, 4 weeks at this point, I think. You pack up your things, and you start heading out. Oka, before we head out, why don't you make another perception check? Yeah, to see if the monsters are still there, if you can sense them.
Oh, it jumped.
Got a jumper.
16.
16. You extend your senses. You don't really hear anything. You don't smell any gore or blood on the air or anything like that. You don't see any smoke. You don't see anything out of the ordinary. So you can probably surmise based on your 16 that the danger has passed. Either the monsters have moved on or they've had their fill of whatever violence they were trying to wreak.
Mm-hmm. Let's be cautious in case there's an ambush, but it doesn't look like anything's wrong.
Okay.
They don't seem to... I'd be surprised if they set up an ambush, rather. They don't seem like the planning sort. They're empty. They just crave violence.
Huh, like my ex. Well, very well then. Come on, Sing. Come on, Bertha. Come on, Hyacinth. Come on, Cactus.
I'm naming the hippos. As Squeak
Seems to be a pattern of X's, Harvey. Manaia winks.
The four of you set out, the five of you, I suppose, with Squeak, set out again on Squeak's wagon. And now, Dewey, since you were the last initiator, you become our next roller. So the next scene doesn't have to happen on day 2 of traveling, because y'all have 2 weeks to get through. So I'll let the pair decide if this happens the day after or a few days after. Wait, no, you don't... hold on. Pick an initiator. That's fine, it's fine. You can keep the number you rolled, but pick an initiator first.
V.
Okay. What did you roll?
23.
23. Okay. Now roll again.
19.
19. Okay. Your prompts are, for V, you choose after the fire or cooking together.
Oh gosh. I don't know where I'm gonna go with after the fire, so I'm gonna select that one.
Cooking together. Oh, after the fire?
Yeah, I don't know what I would do with that one, so I want to do that one.
Okay, so you're gonna initiate. So V and Dewey, tell me, where do you want this, when and where do you want this scene to take place?
How about, in the middle of the night? How about, like, yeah, in the middle of the night. What about, like, waking up in the middle of the night from this said nightmare? And maybe V accidentally does Scorching Ray on some shit.
Okay! I think V, it's that night you set up camp again in the Badlands, in the shade of a baobab tree. Squeak has reluctantly let the hippos out to graze, but she's like,
I'm gonna cast a spell on them to make sure if they're attacked, I'll know.
basically like casting like alarm on an area, with like one of her little tchotchkes, one of her devices, and the four of you fall asleep, while Squeak is casting the spell. And V, that same dream that all four of you, actually, I should say V, Oka, Dewey, and Manaia, the four of you have the same dream again, this nightmare. Blood, battlefield, the eight of you, the stranger, the wings, the calamity, whatever it is that's happening. But V, you pull into whatever inner willpower. This is like the 20 whatever, 40 whatever number, the 40th whatever time that you've had this nightmare. How is it wearing on you, V?
I think for V, in the feeling of like this defeat in the dream, part of that, especially since the encounter with the twins, is this impending doom that like she's trying to do magic at this beast and cannot, that she's ran out of magic in the dream. Mm-hmm. And so like she's trying to cast and maybe like wakes up and accidentally like actually casts.
I think you from your diamond glows and like just a huge ray of fire blasts out from your hand through the invisible veils of the tiny hut, and it sets the baobab tree on fire. And all four of you, I think, the smoke, the V, you jolt awake, you see the fire, and all four of you are like waking groggily. This is the first, I think one of the few times that you've woken up not exactly at the same time at 8 a.m. Squeak goes, "Ah!
Great God Tanker!"
Oh god. Oh god.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Gosh!
Get sand on it!
And Squeak also pulls out that same jug as earlier and just like absolutely douses it in water. But V, you're awake, gasping. Maybe Oka, you're like grabbing sand, helping to like put out the fire. Manaia, are you also helping to put out the fire? While this is happening, Dewey and V, the two of you have a moment where it's just the two of you in the hut while Manaia, Oka, and Squeak are trying to put out this fire. V, you see Dewey. What do you say we're due?
V looks at Dewey. You're okay, right? I didn't hit you with any flames, did I?
Oh, that was you?
I think so. I was having that dream again, and I was trying so hard to cast magic in it, and I think I accidentally slept cast magic. I wasn't trying. I've never done that before.
Extremely worrying?
Yeah, I maybe it's just I've had a lot on my mind lately. This whole not having magic forever is kind of making me a little stressed.
Yeah, what are your plans for when that inevitably runs out?
I mean, well, I know talking is one of my strong suits. I don't think I kind of need the magic to back up some of the predicaments I get myself into. Do you know of any weapons that might be? I'm not very strong, but what do you think? You're smart. What do you think might be a good weapon of choice for a V?
Dewey, for the first time in a long time, you hear a voice in your head. Upon this, go,
Father?
It's kind of muffled against the sheath.
Father, Doth mine ears deceive me? Does V want a weapon that can fight?
Like a knife or something. Like a quarter... No, you know
a
something
sword?
blunt, like a quarterstaff? Maybe?
Do you think a quarterstaff would be a good weapon?
Something that's not sharp, you
No,
know?
those fools are so dense. They're so blunt. No sense of
Something
edge.
you can get used to without, hurting any...
Dude, it's kind of speaking oddly. Are you okay? You seem very nervous suddenly.
Father, let me help! Father, please! I've done nothing for so long!
Yeah,
Please!
Shut up!
Okay, I won't say anything more. Fine. I'm sorry.
No, not you.
Are you, are you okay, Dewey? I'm the one who just set the tree on fire, but I, for some reason, feel like you may need some help.
Don't turn the tables on us, first of all. We all need help. This is fine. I'm fine. Something blunt. Something non-sentient. Something nothing that's sharp.
Non-sentient.
I'm not the one to ask about this.
Are there a lot
it's
of
late.
weapons that are sentient? I was just thinking like maybe a bow and arrow someplace where I
Yes.
could be far away.
Yes, love that. Yes. Bow and arrow. Look, I'm not the one to ask about this. It's late. Yeah, maybe you should... I don't know, magic, like... It's a little unpredictable. In my opinion.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've used
maybe it's
magic
worth
for
it.
a very long time. With no troubles. I mean, yeah, once in a while I've gotten myself into some trouble, but most... You know, when you've used magic for over 100 years, I think I have a little bit of
Okay.
control over it.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm looking for non-sentient bow and arrow.
Okay.
Good talk. Good talk, Dewey.
Yep. So sort of on that, Dewey, as soon as you said shut up, your sword son sort of fell silent and said nothing else. And V, you're like, that was weird. But you're noting away that perhaps you want to get some sort of ranged weapon for yourself. As like a, plan B in case your magic runs out. Okay. So Manaia and Oka, along with Squeak, you managed to put out the baobab tree. It's smoking a little, but the tree, thankfully, is pretty fire resistant. It's hardy. It's got hardy roots, hardy trunk, hardy bark. The hippos are completely unaffected. They sort of just watched the fire go on with, like, mild curiosity. One of them pooped, and that was it. You spend the rest of your night, all four of you, in a dreamless slumber. And now, V, it's your turn to pick an initiator.
Let's go with Oka.
Let's do it. So V, why don't you roll twice?
Let's see. First one is 98,
Okay.
and the second one is 54.
98 and 54. Let me find 54. Oh, we already did 54, so roll another one.
Sure. 46.
46 can do. So your two options, Oka, are a ritual and a misplaced object. Ooh.
Let's go with a ritual.
Sounds good. So tell me, the two of you, where and when does this scene take place? How many days has it been since you've been traveling? We're on like day 2 now.
Shall we jump forward a week? Maybe to when it's starting to get a little bit greener?
Sounds good. We jump forward a week to the point where you can see the court on the horizon. Let's say, like you see, like you can sort of see like the glittering that morning of the boundary waters to your like northwest. if you're looking at it. And you can sort of see like, the rest of the Badlands just like buttes and canyons and divots and just red rock and silt to your right. And just a tiny little speck of greenery on the horizon, which is the court. The entrance to the court. To the Paludo Weald of the court. So since your prompt is a ritual, Oka, let's say it's been a week, sort of like the same thing has been happening every night. All four of you have the same dream again. That morning you wake up.
Actually, if I may.
Yeah.
I think Oka will start keeping watch at night.
Okay.
And not sleeping when everyone else is sleeping, and they'll sleep in the wagon during the day.
Okay.
Or do their best to do that.
Okay, sounds good. You are staying awake. Oh yeah, sounds good. You nominate yourself to do that, so you are sleeping during the day. That first day that you see that little bit of greenery on the horizon, and all of you sort of know to give Oka like kind of like the opportunity to rest in the wagon as it's sort of like trundling along. So Oka, when and where do you start the scene?
Maybe as we're making camp for the night, like Oka's woken up a little while ago, and we're making camp. Or like maybe right as everyone is about to go to sleep.
Okay. So yeah, you finished eating dinner, finished eating your rations, whatever. Squeak sets up that circle again. Hippos are out. Squeak likes the idea of you staying up because that means you get to watch the hippos as well. So Squeak, Manaia, Vee, and Dewey are beginning to retire into the tent. What do you do?
Hey, V.
Yes, Oka?
Oka kind of like jerks their head a little bit, like to ask V to come over to them.
V takes a moment, cocks the head, and then walks over.
Looks like it might storm a little bit later. Thunder, lightning, all that.
It's... Yeah, I guess you're probably better adept at reading the weather than I am.
I think it's clear. Well, actually, it's clear and gray. Like there are no
Clear
storm
and
clouds.
gray, just like every single day for months.
Listen, I think I need your help with something. Oka like flexes their hand with the tattoo. I've been trying to get this to turn on, I guess, and I'm struggling. All right, I've spent the last like 3 nights out here just shaking my arm, and since you're like the only one who really knows magic, just thinking.
Sure, I could take a look at it. And then V's like gonna like offer her hands to like, and she's gonna like put her hands on it and like try to like feel the weave if it's like working there. And it didn't come with an instruction manual, no kind of book, no.
Ravi said that I would know how to use it when I was ready.
You know, I don't know too many blood hunters. It's not been a particular interest of mine, but
Isn't
I've
there
seen
like
you-
a ritual or something that I could do to,
well,
make it go?
I've seen you many a time do some rituals with, some blood. Have you? I don't know. Do you have to cut something? Do you have? Do you?
I have an idea. Let's fight. And then maybe it'll work, right? So just Oka like gets up, and they like kind of like step away from the group. They're like, all right. So just hit me with a spell. Any spell.
V like stands up. She's trying to.
This is basically like how a ritual works. I'm pretty sure, right?
V's having two conflicts. One is like having to use magic for something as like a play fight. And so she's like freaking out and she's like having an existential crisis. She finally like reaches down, grabs a rock, and just like, do something with this, and like chucks it at Oka. I wouldn't be upset if it accidentally hits Oka in the head.
Okay, I think it hits Oka in the head.
Yeah, it does.
I'm sorry, Oka. Oh my goodness. I thought you were ready.
A trickle of blood comes from your temple, but it's not red. It's golden.
Was that a magic rock? You have a magic rock spell?
Why are you bleeding gold?
We're still doing this. And I'm gonna try to see if I can activate my Crimson Ray.
I think you do.
Aha. I'll take some damage from it, but I feel like
It's a scene. You don't have to roll for it necessarily. The blood, the gold shimmers. There's like a little glow, and then what does it look like when you activate your blood weapon?
I think it like trickles down their arm, kind of like wraps, or like it. The blood like trails to the top of the tattoo.
Okay.
And as it goes down, it seems to seep back into their skin.
Okay.
And then it's just like nothing. And then Oka goes, huh. And then it almost is like another bone coming out of their body, but it comes like from their elbow and curves up on the outside of their hand, like a golden bone. It almost looks like, but it's made of blood basically, and like, yeah.
Yep, it rips out of your arm, like sort of like in the exact form that the tattoo was.
Oh boy. All right. Okay.
Did I help?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, swings their hand a few times. The balance is kind of off. I'm gonna have to, and they like start mumbling to themselves a little bit about like the weight of it. Like, okay, and then they like squeeze their palm a little bit more, and I think the blade shifts from like being on the outside of their arm to like kind of the top of their hand, and out the top. I feel kind of like a magician, kind of like you, Vee, right?
I mean, if I could do that, that's one heck of a magic spell.
Yeah, well, if I can't do it, just hit me with a rock, right? Use your magic rock spell.
Don't have to tell me twice.
Oka considers V again for another moment. I know you've been kind of worried, so don't tell anyone that I did this. And Oka's gonna like clap their hands together. I think maybe like letting that dissipate. And call on Vinash.
Okay, what are you trying to get Vinash to do?
Give V some more magic.
What?
Okay, what do you mean by some more magic?
Kind of like the same thing where Oka was able to replenish the twins' magic. It's, whatever feeling that felt like, Oka's gonna try to do it again and extend a hand to V.
Okay, I think what this means is Vinash is powerful, you're rousing him again. So I will allow, basically what this means is I will allow Vinash to protect V from losing her magic. the next time V would lose magic, she won't. Will be the blessing that Vinash will bestow upon V in exchange for you rolling a D8.
A D8?
It was a D6 last time,
I
so it's
know,
a D8
it
now.
sucks. Okay.
Oh God,
So-
why did you do it?
So
Because
roll
it's
that
who
D8.
because of who I am as a person. Oh,
It's an 8!
Fuck!
So you lose 8 maximum hit points that cannot be recovered until you remove Vinash from your body. So note what your actual max HP is and your new max HP.
Oh my fucking god, that hurt.
Yep.
The 8.
Ow.
Oh, Oka. So I think this is what it looks like when you clap your hands together.
I'm down 14 hit points total.
Yep. And V, you smell electricity before the rest of your body senses it. Like your hair begins to like rise, on the back of your neck, sort of like when you were approaching the shred of Vinash inside the Ujval mines, and you can sense the presence now, like emanating out of Oka, like and like little bits of like red electricity begin sparking off Oka's skin. And Oka's like little like tiny hairs. Oka has like a shaved head, but like the hairs also raise and puff up, kind of making Oka almost look kind of like a hedgehog. And V, like your hair begins to sort of stand on end as well. And Oka's entire body begins to glow red. Electricity, and then a bolt like shoots out of Oka's chest and into you, V. And you stagger backward from the impact, but it doesn't hurt. In fact, it's almost like warm electricity is now like zapping around you. And both of you hear Vinash's voice in your heads go, "The blessing is bestowed." And then the voice dies down.
Oka coughs, a little bit of blood comes out, because that was a lot of life that just got sucked out of them. That was like my level up didn't even matter. Ouch.
Yeah, you might want to dump Vinash out of your body onto someone soon.
Yep.
And V is gonna like feel this presence like now sort of emanating inside of her, and she's like, "Oh God, you didn't have to do that."
Oka like wipes at their chin. Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
They kind of like roll their eyes a little bit, but they offer V a like side hug. Like
There's
pat her
also-
on the back.
Yeah, V is also a little bit like, I'm not used to this. So the side hug is mutual.
Yeah. Oka pats V a little hard, like bump, bump, on the back. Alright. Now let me watch over these hippos. The hippo guardian of all of Andake.
Hippo Guardian, okay. So I think we leave the scene there with this blessing bestowed upon V, so perhaps I can assuage a little bit of your anxiety, Erica. So note that somewhere that you have this blessing from Vinash. So I think that means everyone's been in a scene at this point. And it's close to being 5, which is usually when we end our sessions. So I would like to ask the party, how do we feel? Do we want to end the session still traveling, or do we want to get to the court?
I would be fine, personally, doing... I didn't get to roll a scene.
That's true.
And I do want to have a scene with Manaia. Oka does, rather. So I'd be happy to do that, or get to the court.
How are people feeling?
We could have our scene happen right before we get to the court, and then end it as we're coming up on it.
I like
Sounds
that.
good. Okay.
Yep.
Great. So a few more days pass. You're nearing the end of your 2 weeks of travel. And at this point, like that little dot of greenery has grown bigger and bigger until it's basically shrouding the entire horizon. And to your left, you see like the glimmering of the boundary waters. And sort of to your south, you see like more of the Badlands, but you sort of see where the Badlands begin to transform into more settled areas. You're coming up on the court now. The hippos are like sniffing the air. It seems like they can smell like the moisture like coming up in the air. And they, the next 2 days of travel, The final 2 days of travel are the hippos going sort of at breakneck speed for a hippo without like exhaustion. So it's just them like before they were like this and now they're like like they're like going to they're excited to get into swampy environs. So yeah, sort of the same thing that happens every night yet again. Like y'all have the same nightmare. Y'all wake up at the same time every morning at 8 a.m. Have y'all figured it out yet?
Is this even when Oka's not sleeping with the rest of them?
No.
Okay, well, they haven't stopped doing that.
Yep, so the only exception is Oka, but the rest of you, the 3 of you, do the same thing. Have you figured it out yet? No?
I guess not.
I haven't. Dew hasn't.
Manaia, V? Okay, great. So we don't have to have a scene about that. If you decide you don't want to have figured it out. Okay. I think Squeak figures it out. I think on the morning of the last day of travel, you'll get to the court before quote unquote sundown, before it's dark out. And y'all can sort of like even smell like the environment changing. It's like, it's still arid and dry, but you can almost like, ooh, like is that the court? Or those like swampy mists that are like greeting our noses now. Squeak is tacking up the hippos. And Oka, you're like starting to settle down in the back of the wagon for your sleep. When Squeak turns to you, Manaia, Dewey, and V, as the 3 of you are like helping like either tack up the hippos or like getting into the wagon, she goes,
Hold on. Manaia, Dewey, V, I have to ask. Why do you keep meeting without me in the morning?
Manaia glances at V and Dewey. And Oka.
We've been having the same dream over and over again.
okay, hold on. So that means you figured it out. That means all 3 of you know that you've been having the same dream over
I
and
thought
over.
you meant like figure out what the dream is.
Oh,
What do you
no.
mean about that?
No, I'm sorry. Miscommunication on my part. I meant that, like, have you figured out that you're having the same dream and waking up at the same time?
I thought we talked about that. Like towards the beginning of our journey. When I was like putting together with Oka and we were like 8 people, battleground. Y'all been doing this too?
Oh,
Yeah,
that
cool.
I didn't catch up. I didn't pick up on that was what that was.
Oh. Sorry.
At all.
Miscommunication on our part.
Yeah, so what is the knowledge that you have and don't have amongst yourselves about the dream?
So Oka told all of us what they've been dreaming.
Yes.
Dewey was hearing that and was like, okay, eyes emoji. So, but he hasn't shared that he also has this dream.
Okay. Manaia, have you shared that you've also had this dream?
Yes.
V, have you shared that you've also had this dream?
Yeah.
Okay, so the only person who hasn't shared is Dewey. Dewey, now that everyone has shared, are you going to share or are you going to keep it to yourself?
Okay, then he would have shared, yeah.
Okay, great. So all 4 of you know that you've been having this dream, but you don't know how to stop it. Or Oka seems to have figured out a way, but you don't know what it's about.
Sleep.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I was confused about that. So we don't have to have the scene with Squeak then, because I was assuming that you didn't realize. Okay, so the 4 of you, it's the morning of. Oka, why don't you do your thing? Why don't you roll?
35
Okay.
and 13. That's fine.
35 and 13. So, Devin, Manaia, your 2 options are a misunderstanding and a secret comes to light.
I'm gonna choose a secret comes to light.
Sounds good. So it's the morning of. Do you wait until you're coming up on the court, or do you wake Oka up? Or do you catch Oka before they go to sleep?
I think Oka will have asked to be woken when they were getting somewhat close.
Cool.
You know? They don't have to sleep for that long tonight.
Cool.
Or today, I guess.
Cool. So Manaia, when and how do you initiate?
I'm assuming Oka's already woken up.
Yeah.
Someone's woken them up.
Okay, you're like maybe an hour and a half out.
Someone's oakened them up.
Opened them up.
Woken them up.
Awoken. Okay.
Woken.
Hey, Oka.
Mm.
Did you see anything in the boundary waters on your watches at night?
Not that I can really tell. I mean, it's hard to tell a butte from a mountain, from a swamp tree cluster, from a pillar of water in the sky, but I haven't seen anything like that, if that's what you're asking. But definitely less ships than I would expect from the boundary waters.
Yes, I'm pretty sure Silmanad's a relatively large port there, but trade must have halted, if slowed down or even halted.
Imagine so.
Wonder how the fish are doing.
You're worried about the fish?
I mean, of course I'm worried about the people. Of course they're putting themselves in danger by going out on the water, but Look, I've been a sailor for a long time. I've sailed every sea I've been to, every country except Kirtal, just landlocked, you know. And I've learned so much about the winds, the waters, the things that live inside, well, the things that live under the surface. And I've cared for the water for so long. But I've never been able to fish, alright? I just can't do it. I never catch anything. I don't know. Shut up. Right, it's not for everyone.
Manaia. Like with a pole and a net and stuff? You just...
I get the bait, I put it on the hook, I throw it in the water, and nothing. Alright?
I can see that this has been weighing on you for quite some time.
I'm nervous about going to the court. My parents disappeared in those waters. But distracting myself from what we're doing is just...
It makes sense.
It's all I can think of. Babatunde used to make fun of me. He would fish up a feast every night. We'd be going at 3, 4, 10, 20 knots, and he'd somehow still catch something.
Well, I can't say that I'm the most accomplished fisher ever, but I certainly know how to bait a hook, and do you, Manaia, you cast a rather imposing shadow. Have you ever considered crouching? So the fish don't see your shadow in the water. People who are my stature, short, are good at fishing because the fish can't see our shadows.
Well, I've only really fished from a ship, and the ships are generally so big, I didn't think my shadow would...
Something to think about, perhaps. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's, if we get the chance, I mean, we're going into a swamp. You have to catch a fish at least once, right? Like, mathematically, it wouldn't make sense for you to not even catch a fish just once. We'll try.
We'll try.
And
Thank you.
Of course. Manaia, I know that this isn't easy. You're walking toward the thing that scares you the most. But the fact that you're walking towards it is that same light that I've seen in you since the day we met. You are the bravest person that I've ever met in my life. And you are too good for this world. So, stick the fuck around, because I'm not letting you go just yet. Not without catching a fish first.
And sort of on that, the four of you arrive at the court. Just as Dr. Aluso had promised, this is where you begin to meet quite a few other travelers. Does it seem like there are a lot of other wagons, caravans, or people coming from the east, from the northeast, the Badlands, like the four of you? Rather, the majority of everyone else comes from a trade route, snaking from south to north, past the hump of the god spine, from southern Talmud, sort of where Solmonad was in episode 1 and 2. And now as you're like approaching the political boundary that separates the court from Talmud, you see like other caravans, other wagons, like trains of people, not like actual like choo-choo trains, but like trains of like caravan trains of people processing forward. You see what appears to be maybe families on their like family mule that they've had for years, and all their belongings, like all their things, like on the back of a wagon. You also see like maybe like groups of like either companies or like other adventuring groups traveling together. You also see like, you know, either extended families or maybe like relatives, like business associates, all traveling together. Merchants as well, but is dominated. Just like in Dabathati, the normal people, the common folk, outnumber like merchants and nobles, like sort of like 10 to 1 situation as you're traveling. And it begins to get noisier. People are talking amongst themselves. All folks are eager to get to the main checkpoint from Talmud, separating the Republic of Talmud from the Court of Ravens. And the four of you were able to get past Talmud to Morose because there aren't any really formal borders that separate Morose from the rest of the countries, but this is not so for the majority of the powers. There are usually formal checkpoints because they're moving from one citizenry to another, which is usually a big deal. So as the four of you begin to approach, you hit traffic. You hit sort of like similar to Dabathati, the gates of Dabathati, you hit like just a big old bunch of people. You see other hippos. You see horses, zebras, camels, even like an elephant, like a small elephant carrying, you know, a family. And you become stuck in traffic. Even though like the court, you see like in the distance, maybe like half a mile away. You see like swampy, like the tops of like swampy cypress trees, of blowing willows. You can smell like the swamp. The hippos are eager, you know. Ting is like nibbling at other people's like ankles nearby. Really wants to push through, but Squeak goes, whoa, hold, ugh, really? There's only a few more hours of light.
Well,
Traffic's traffic.
though I wonder if a big, strong man couldn't barge our way through here once again.
I actually
anyone
remember
else
that
have
going
an
very, very poorly.
Last time I did that, I did burn down a building. Did you?
We were in the desert. It was bound to happen someday.
What does the rest of the group do? Do you think I should try my luck?
No.
V, I have this horrible image of you getting just run over by somebody's rhino in my mind.
All of a sudden, V has this memory of like some alternate universe where she gets run over by a rhino.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, just a nightmare. I mean, I could try to do something.
No, V, I was joking. Let's wait this one out.
As Manaia says that, V was getting ready to use Shocking Grasp on the tail of the next animal in front of them to start like some type of stampede, maybe, I don't know. But
Okay,
because Manaia says that, she stops and, all right.
The person riding, it's a halfling woman on a big boar, let's say, a big like a boar that she's tamed. And like she turns around as you like move your hand away, she says, can I help you?
I was just petting this lovely posterior of this beautiful animal of yours, my friend. It is unbelievably gorgeous. Where do you get such creature? Oh my goodness, is it for sale? By the way, your eyes are very lovely.
She sort of squints at you and like scratches like her chin and says, "You weren't trying to cut in front of me, were you?"
I would never do that, but if you offered out of the kindness of your heart, I may appreciate, and I don't know, there may be some silver pieces in it for you.
You know what? No amount of silver is worth not dying. So I'm gonna keep my place in line. Thank you very much. And she turns and looks at the rest of you and says, "I'm remembering all of your faces. So if you try to cut me in line, I'm gonna do something about it." Yeah, even you, bird boy. Sort of sits back on her pig, and her pig farts in your face, V.
Well, that was a little bit rude. Oh my gosh.
It's like she didn't even try anything, and yet here we are. You know, V, for someone so likable, you're actually quite unlikable.
I mean, did you want me to actually try? Come on, friend, I was barely trying. I could try harder if you want.
Please don't.
No.
Okay. So the four of you decide to sort of maybe wait things out. Starting to get darker and darker, and the line basically hasn't budged. You can sort of hear people starting like grousing around each other, like, "Oh, what's happening? Like, are we gonna get stuck out here after dark? What about the monsters?" People are like whispering and like starting to get worried around you.
So, you know how Oka just kind of starts talking? You know how when you're hunting an elephant, it protects the baby elephant by, circling around them? We should get all the carts together.
That's a lot of cards to coordinate.
I know someone very tall who is actually very likable. Or we could just sit here and like a little kebab waiting to get eaten down the line.
Fine. Not great with words, so you'll have to give me a script.
Oh, come on. You have heart. That's better than any script.
You don't want me to open up my mouth or give you my words, because my words will probably get us kicked by animal in front of us.
Suppose I'll give it a try. You four have to cover your ears, though.
Oh boy.
Let's just say years on the sea produce a rather loud deckhand voice. And Manaia's gonna stand up on top of the cart, and I'm not gonna I don't know what exactly she would say, but she's basically going to say things along the lines of, we need to protect ourselves from the monsters, or it's getting dark, we should protect ourselves, use whatever you have as a barricade, carts, or whatever, protect those who need protecting.
Okay. Are you like standing on top of the wagon or something to like sort of get everyone's attention?
Yes, and
Oka whispers up and is like, tell them to get into little pods, little circles.
And Manaia repeats that. And like her big, booming deckhand voice meant to carry over the crashing waves and thunderous storms. It pierces the air. And yeah.
Okay. So Manaia, you get up on the wagon and you cup your hands, around your mouth and you shout these things, and like a sort of hush falls around the gathered people, like in the vicinity. People sort of look at each other. And then like a gnome man calls up like, what? Okay! Well, you heard the woman! Come on, everyone! And it's sort of like clapping. People go, oh! And people start moving. People start like shuffling in like a big circle, like moving their carts, like in like a big, forming a perimeter, and like putting their like valuables like on the other side of the cart, or they're like locking their wagons and like making sure they can't get taken, and like moving the people to the inside perimeter. And other people start shouting, is everybody here like a spellcaster? Can anyone cast protective magic? It's like, oh, I'm a wizard, I can do that. People are like starting to volunteer their own abilities and powers to help each other out.
And it's been a while since Manaia's been on a ship, but as things are starting to move, she's starting to like help coordinate people.
Yeah.
As she went on a ship.
Okay, yeah. So I think the four of you are actually helping. Like you're helping get people like into the inside. You're like there are like some spellcasters who are starting to like set up protective barriers around this huge perimeter of people who are stuck outside the court, basically waiting to get in. So what about the rest of you, Manaia? As you're helping coordinate leadership efforts, how about the rest of you?
Is there anybody who looks very well-to-do in this crowd?
Yes, there are there's a few. Let's say there is a woman nearby. An elf woman, sort of dressed in like the robes, like colors of the Republic, sort of like in these like big like, old like rings, and has like necklaces and like earrings. She looks very dignified, and she's accompanied by a retinue of what I can only describe as armed personal bodyguards. And she has like one of the largest carts that she has kind of like reluctantly set up as part of the perimeter. And she's like instructing one of her servants, make sure you double lock the back, okay? My precious heirlooms are in there. You set up watch over there. You set up watch over there. I don't want any of these people taking my things.
Ooh. You're making that awfully hard on me, Connie.
Vee, that's what you say. I'll let you think about it. Dewey, Oka?
I mean, Oka's like helping people. It doesn't have to be one huge one. Like it could just be like kind of like tiny pods.
Okay.
I think Oka's maybe like actually moving further from the group to like go down the line kind of people and start trying to, like carry the messages, down. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, maybe they wouldn't. They're not very good at talking to people, but as they see as other people maybe see further down the line us get into a circle, like Oka will like go down that way
and like try to help other people who haven't gotten the memo yet. Okay, so you sort of like be like, I'll be back. You peel off and you like start passing the word down the line. What about you, Dewey?
I reach out for Vee right before I see her eyeing someone out there, and
Okay.
I'm like, what? Hold up. Just because this worked last time, mostly. What's your play here?
Oh, I just thought we could use some more resources. So, I was just going to ask this woman here. She seems like she's got plenty, and I was wondering maybe she'd be willing to donate to the cause. I mean, after all, we're going around saving the Andake. Why not? Would she be willing to donate to such a noble cause?
Is this just donating to us, or like you specifically, or like us getting into the place we're going?
Friend, if V has it, you have it. If you have it, V has it.
That's not. One of those is true.
Which one? It's like two liars and one dude tells the truth. Which one is the truth teller? I'll
know
let-
which one it is. Okay, never mind. Go. Don't get arrested. Do your thing.
Sure.
I shield my eyes.
Okay. Dewey, you're like, all right, I'm gonna let V do what V wants to do. Dewey, as you sort of step away, you feel someone tugging on your shirt. You turn and you look down, and you see sort of like a young human girl goes, "Hi, I'm sorry, excuse me, I just saw the wrench. Can you fix my dad's wagon? It's broken, and we can't join everyone else. I'm scared we're gonna get lost out."
Yeah. Yeah. I peel off and follow.
Great. Oh, thank
Tell me
you.
where it
Thank you
is.
so much. It'll just be a moment. And she leads you away from your party. V, have you decided to steal this rich lady's shit?
Yeah, I think I'm going to disguise self into our good friend Ronnie.
Oh God.
And,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just. Let's see. I think it depends on if I'm successful or not, how I want to play it. So, can I roll sleight of hand?
Oh, what are you trying to do? Are you trying? Are you?
I'm just trying to steal some stuff from this woman.
Okay, you
I
turn into
steal-
Ronnie. Okay.
Yep.
What does Ronnie look like?
Ronnie is a big, burly gentleman, big red beard, more portly, just seems very sturdy, little dirty. He's like he's the type of guy you see in the tavern.
Okay,
Buying
sounds good.
drinks for everyone.
Sure. You turn into Ronnie, and you're just gonna try to sidle up to the back doors of this lavish wagon that have been locked, and try to unlock it and get in.
Yeah.
Without anyone
I'm trying
seeing?
to play incognito now in case, but I've got some things planned.
Okay, roll stealth first of all before you even pick the lock to see if anyone notices you getting up there.
You became larger to be more stealthy.
True. Let's see.
We do have an auto crit, but you might want to save that for sleight of hand. I don't know.
I'm gonna use. I have one.
You have one
right?
inspiration?
Yeah, I have an inspiration. I'll use my point of inspiration.
Okay, it's used.
Yes, that is an unnatural 20.
Okay. Well, let's see how successful that is. V, you go up to the wagon. You're looking around. You're pretty sure no one has seen you. You're right up at the lock, the first lock. What do you do? So you look at the you look at the back of the wagon. There are 3 locks.
3 of them. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. How loud is it right now? Anyway.
It's pretty loud. There's a bunch of people all around you. You know, you like glance and you see that like the lady is sort of like setting up a tent. You know, like her bodyguards and her servants are helping her set up, and she is nowhere to be seen. Presumably inside the tent that's being set up. Presumably.
I guess do I use knock? Do I not use knock?
Knock is loud, Erica.
I'll try to pick the locks.
Okay, roll sleight of hand. I will allow you to do 1 sleight of hand check for all 3 to see how successful it is.
Auto crit.
You're gonna use it? You're gonna use the auto crit?
Let's fucking do it. Auto crit.
Okay! Erica! V uses the auto crit. You boom! You open the locks so quickly. And the doors sort of squeak open on well-greased hinges silently. And what greets you inside the wagon is crates and boxes and chests, as well as like hangers with like lavish robes and like beautiful silks and whatnot. And you're just like, okay, great. And as V is sort of like at the edge of the open wagon, Dewey, this human girl has sort of led you away from the crowd toward, sure enough, like a broken down wagon. That has sort of been like left behind as everyone's been pulling their wagons to form like a circle. And you hear like a voice beyond the wagon go, my love, are you back with someone who can help fix the wagon? Yes, Papa. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Cardew.
Cardew, it's so nice to meet you. Well, it's right over here. And she like leads you toward the wagon. You go around the back. You don't see anyone else. Like no father or anything like that.
Hello?
The girl
I don't want to
turns.
step on.
The girl turns to face you, and out of her mouth is not this young girl's voice. It is the voice of
Fuck
the
you.
myriad.
Fuck you.
And the myriad says to you, Cardu, Cardu, Cardu. And as he speaks, like the form like sloughs off this girl's body, and he elongates and turns into the dog-headed man, the hound-headed man that you know, dressed in a pressed suit. So, what have you learned about the stranger? And I think we can end the session there of episode 1. And yeah, that was fun. That was a great fun time that we just did. So as a reminder, everyone, episode 2 of Arc 2, Deuces, is going to be next Saturday. That is, let's see, January 16th at 3 p.m. Central, right here on Twitch, going until about 5:35 p.m. Central. Our next stream is going to be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central. C is going to do their art stream right here. So if you have any requests for C, Hangout's going to be a chill time. This coming Tuesday and Wednesday, we have our video game streams at 7 p.m. Central. And on Thursday, don't miss our one-shot wonder at 4 p.m. Central. I'm pretty sure we're going to do You Awaken in a Strange Place, where everyone except Erica is going to play a GM-less game, a GM-less tabletop game, and then, of course, next Saturday is going to be our next session. So let's do an outroduction. My name is Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I've been your GM for Transplanar RPG. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter at @byconniechong and on Tumblr at @DandDaddyIssues. I'm going to pass along outroductions to Erica.
Hi, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I was playing Veenog Scherzo. And you can find me here on Twitch or any social media at Erica New Girl. Come check me out. I play horror games, and we have a lot of laughter times together, and it's fun, and I hope you come see me, please. I love you. And I'm going to pass it on to Devin.
My name is Devin. I use they, them pronouns. I have no internet presence, but join the Discord. You could just join the Discord. I'm really active in the Discord server. It's a really great community. You should join in. Post your memes, post your theories, post your quotes, post your clips, post your shits. Don't post your shits. Post your pets. That'd be gross. I'll pass it on to Max.
Hey y'all, I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I play the ever gullible Dewey Quirk. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Starchmonger. I'll pass it to C.
Hey y'all, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me here tomorrow at 2 p.m. doing my art stream. This is Bao, who uses baby boy pronouns. Yeah, I'm just gonna let him be here. I am going to be drawing some more of our brand new Arc 2 outfits, finishing that up tomorrow on stream. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to join me tomorrow. You can also follow me on the internet at PieSharpArt on Twitter or at pie-sharp on Tumblr. I did the art here on the overlay, and my commissions for headshots just like those are open right now. So, Connie, will you start our raid?
I will.
Use our raid message.
Let's use our raid message. Yeah. Someone post the raid message. We are going to raid, let's see, Dicey Amazons. They are they're currently on break. So maybe Kupo. Kupo is a trans Filipinx person. We are going to raid them. They're awesome. Toss them a sub, toss them a follow if you don't follow them already. They play video games and they sometimes play tabletop games as well. So do that raid message. We will see you tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and of course, Saturday for episode 2, Arc 2. Tell your friends. Please tell your friends about us. We love you. Peace.